Guys, today's lesson is solving integer equations. So I'd like you to open up your packet to your notes for today. Let's get started. All right, we're going to start our lesson today with solving addition and subtraction equations. Remember that the sum of an integer and its opposite is 0. So that would be like a -5. Its opposite is +5. And the sum of those is 0. So a number and its opposite always have a sum of 0. All right, let's zoom in on our first equation. M plus 4 is -15. So to solve our equation, the first thing we're going to do, these are the ones where we want to write our balance. Coming down, keeping our equations balanced is important. And we want to find the side with the variable and do the opposite operation to what's acting on the variable right now. So what's happening to the variable is it's having 4 added. The inverse would be to subtract 4 from each side. Now this is where our integer work comes in. I have a -15 minus 4. So we know that we're going to add the opposite. We're going to keep our -15, change, subtract to add, and change our 4 to a -4. So I've written this up here with these thought bubbles. You can also do your keep, change right here if you want. So -15 and -4 give us a -19. And on the left side of my equation, I have a +4 and a -4, or a +4 and a -4. But we can see those zero out. They are opposites, so we have m is -19. To check your work, we're going to go back to the original equation. So I've rewritten your equation right down here, and we are going to substitute in our solution of -19. So we want to make sure that our solution does in fact give us this -15. Well, a -19 and a +4, we have different signs, so we subtract, and -19 minus 4 is 15, and our 19 has a greater absolute value, so it is a negative on the 15, which is what we were looking for, so it checks out. And we can box or highlight our answer. Let's move on. -2 plus z is -7. So again, we want to keep our equation balanced, so we're going to draw that balance. Now here, our operation is adding. So we want to subtract that integer. So this can get a little fuzzy for some kids. We're subtracting the number that was being added, which was a -2. So we're going to subtract -2 from both sides. You can use parentheses if you want, so it doesn't look like that minus. Again, if you want, you could jot that up here, kind of think about it horizontally, would look like this, -7, and we're subtracting a -2. Our keep, change, we're going to keep -7, change minus to add, and change -2 to +2. So here we're adding a -2 or subtracting a -2. Those cancel and we're left with z. On the right side, -7 plus 2 gives us a -5. All right, so we've got -2 plus z is -7 was our original equation. I'm going to check it with our solution. And we got a -5 for z. So let's see, -2 plus -5. Well, signs are the same, so we add and keep the sign. And yeah, that equals our -7. So our solution is correct. Last one, I'd like you to give this one a try, so pause and try it, and then check your work. All right, so you can see I've got my work, I've shown my balance. We end up with a -97 and a +10. They have a difference of a negative 87. I'm checking it down here. We have negative 87 minus 10. So keep, change, change. That gives us a negative 97, which is what we were looking for. So we can go ahead and box that. Let's move on to multiply and divide. All right, our first equation is d divided by negative 4 equals 3. So to solve this, I want to do the opposite of dividing by negative 4, which is to multiply by negative 4. So I'm not going to change the sign. I'm changing the operation, not the sign. So I'm multiplying by negative 4 on both sides of the equation. I'm going to bring down my balance. And negative 4 divided by negative 4 would be a positive 1. So I have d on the left and 3 times negative 4 on the right. Well, 3 times 4 is 12. And a positive times a negative gives us a negative on the 12. When I check it in my original equation, I have negative 12 divided by negative 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So this does equal my starting equation. So I can go ahead and box. And the next one, negative 205 equals 5y. Well, to undo multiplication, I want to divide both sides of my equation. So I'm going to bring down my balance, and I'm going to show that I'm dividing both sides by 5. This one is not so easy maybe to do in your head, so we'll set it up as long division. I don't need to worry about the fact that it is a negative 205. It's going to divide the same way. I do know my answer will be negative because I have a negative divided by a positive, but I'm going to go ahead and do my division, not worrying about that negative in that spot. So 5 doesn't go into 2, but it goes into 20 4 times. Bring down the next number, and 5 goes into 5 one time. 1 times 5 is 5. And that gives me a solution of 41. Now I've already written in the negative because it was a negative divided by a positive. So that is a negative 41. 5 divided by 5 is positive 1. So that cancels and gives me a negative 41 is y. So to solve, or check my work, I want to make sure, is 205 5 times negative 41? Well, 5 times 40 is 200 plus 5 times 1, 205, positive times a negative. Yeah, this one checks out, and I can box that up. In our final example for today, we're looking at a word problem. Joseph has a lawn mowing business. His profits this year are $2,000 or $2,430. This is $500 more than his profits from last year. How much were his profits last year? Well, we want to write an equation to solve in order to answer this question. So we have his profits this year are $2,430. This is 500 more than his profits from last year. 500 more than his profits from last year. I'm going to call those P. So profits, I'm going to call P. How much were his profits from last year? Well, yeah, we're going to solve it the same way we did our others. We're going to undo adding 500 to P by subtracting 500 on each side. we have 1,930. So last year he made $1,930, and this year $2,430. Probably makes you want to start your own lawn mowing business. It's about that time. All right, so this is the end of our lesson for today. Again, use what you've learned this week about integers to help you solve these equations in the same method as you've been solving your equations all year. Good luck, and if you get stuck or have a question, ask your teacher.